Okay, quick summary of what I learned between yesterday and today in case it helps you. So, let's begin. And it was pretty cool. First we'll do the web stuff, then ChatGPT. So the web stuff, a summary out of all of these, the good thing is for Codex. So if you have ChatGPT and you're trying to use it in the command line, you don't need to set up a payment method or have API keys. You do need to just authenticate with your ChatGPT through Google, and you can do it in the command line, and then it opens up uh, like Edge, and you authenticate. So it's pretty cool. Um, as far as Kelp, and we can go to this guy. As far as Kelp, Kombu, Wakame, and Nori, the best brands, especially on the first three, are gonna be for iodine. This Star Wars Botanicals organic kelp powder. It's got like nearly 3,000 reviews at a 4.6. It's the best. You only want a small pinch. I think it's 1/16 of a teaspoon already gives you like 450 micrograms, which is already above the 300 microgram upper limit, like upper recommended limit. 450 is still below the some crazy kind of thyroid, like if you have Hashimoto's, you want to keep it 450 or below usually. So yeah, those are they. So Star Wars Botanicals for Kombu. I love Eden, the brand. I use it for beans. I trust them, and they're pretty highly rated here as well. So I'd go with Eden. And then for this one, I think the best one was definitely this Aqua Veggies brand. It's new, but these three come from China, which has high chance of contaminant. This one, I believe, comes from Korea, and this one from Canada. It's low reviews, but it's a 4.7, very high, and it's the only one that really cares about, like, on the packaging. It's the highest. Yeah, I think it's the best. If not, this other one is this Korean dried seaweed flakes is number 2. But let's say if you want iodine and you don't want to get it from salt, which has dextrose, which is derived from corn, which if you have sensitivity, it will make you go wild, like itch and all sorts of things. So from the iodized sea salt you normally find. So and you can take a supplement, but like pure encapsulations. But again, this is just the natural route, which I prefer. So here we have.
The heal your gut guy who healed himself from Crohn's disease.
As far as Crohn's, to summarize, pretty much, let's be honest, almost no one really knows the ultimate solution at this point, but I will tell you, based off all these, the biologics, the normal pharma way is not good. It's like 32 to 37% effectiveness. They gotta switch you off every year or few years, and you have side effects like your leukemia, you or stroke. It's pretty bad. As opposed to purely plant-based diet, if you go that, I think cook everything, and then the things you don't cook, you eat ferments like kimchi, sauerkraut, like a variety of those. That's pretty much 100% sure shot at a year into remission, and most people, especially following Gundry's plant-based diet, as far as anecdotal, because again the data is really sparse on this, so you gotta grab whatever you can, is like 2 weeks to a few months. So that's the best. Plant-based, cook everything, ferments, and we'll dive into that with the SVD diet soon. But yeah, that's all it is summarized. This is pretty cool. This insulin resistant one guy, apparently sweet potatoes, chickpeas, black beans. So these actually spike blood sugar a little more than sweet potatoes. But all in all, they're way better than processed sugars. So still sugar, but much better. Yeah, especially if you eat them with ferments and other things like fats, coconut, yogurt, etc. So that's that. That's how you blunt the spike. What are these? some of these videos don't have the actual overcoming, and most of them are what I said, they're mostly plant. Some say meat, but usually that's short-lived, like the carnivore thing. Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of that. And then I'm trying to remember. We're here. Yeah, we can go into these two. Okay, so I believe this was first. So now we're going to get into ChatGPT. If you're, again, this is a summary, so if your gut, like you start burping a lot, belching a lot, or farting a lot out of nowhere, and it's probably a Crohn's flare. That's how it looks like if we've got a history of Crohn's, etc. So that's what a Crohn's flare is. Yep. So that's more of that. And then why? So I looked at Gundry if he had a Crohn's specific a kind of a solution. There are a few videos where you can get glimpses of what he does for Crohn's patients. But ultimately, they're this stuff, and as well as things like stay away. He says stay away from cruciferous, even if they're really well cooked. I tolerate like they're very well cooked, like pressure steamed. They're good even at 0 minutes. For seeds, here's a huge thing, and I'm doing an experiment myself. Any seeds, don't eat them raw, okay? Even if they're on the yes list, do not eat them raw. Cook everything. He says that in the original Plant Paradox. He has like a asterisk saying if you have IBD, IBS, cook everything except like ferments and stuff. But you want to cook almost everything. Here's why. So if you look at the seeds, nuts, legumes, most of them are pretty high, right? Like even hemp seeds is still not like these guys. And then these guys cause a problem usually because of how the fiber is, there's some allergenic proteins, but also how the fiber is structured. And usually when you pressure steam them, you change that fiber structure so you can eat carrots, right? So raw carrots, maybe not for IBD. Pressure steamed carrots, great. And these are usually at 0 minutes, and these are usually like at least 10 minutes. The study I saw for lentils was 5 minutes. It goes pretty much down to 0, but just to be safe, you want to go 10 minutes. If you pressure boil them, and if you pressure steam them, you usually soak for and I think I covered this in another video, but you soak for the exact same time, like let's say overnight, 4 hours at least, and then you pressure steam for the cook time most websites give you. So instead of putting it in water, pressure boiling it for 10 minutes, you would leave it overnight and then pressure steam it for 10 minutes, and you'll get a good thing. Don't steam without soaking because it only gets the outsides, and there are lectins within the seeds. We'll get into the breakdown of lectins in locations. Here's some also quinoa, oats. Again, you cannot cook the lectins out of those. So just or most of the wheat or wheat analogs. So those are no-go. And there's why. What else? This was a cool vid. It said these were the top 10. I can tell you right now. So again, data sparse, and some of the stuff down here is like, none of these help significantly. Like you'll see, and I'll copy paste as I always do to give you access to this. But in my experience, if you don't go crazy over carbs, is better. If you can limit it and replace it with healthy fats, that's awesome. But again, you don't want raw stuff. You don't want raw seeds, raw nuts for healthy fats. Sometimes even cooked, if you overdo the fats, it could be a problem. So lowering carb for fats, but keeping fiber kind of high to buffer the fat is necessary. So there's some truth in that personally. This is absolutely true. No gluten, A1 dairy, no dairy at all, at least for me. 100% even fermented, like goat milk, which is A2, still no-go. Bone broth, based on everything I've seen, plant-based is 100% the way to go. So it can't. Probably a no. I haven't tried that. Fermented foods is the strongest yes ever. A variety of fermented foods. Blueberries, maybe. It's got sugar and anthocyanins. For me, some fruit like kiwi, berries, some of it I didn't do too well with, so maybe. Herb spice is good if cooked. Supplements, I would not. I tried them. They do help short term. They have long term detriment, even from very reputable brands. So, essential oils, yeah, they've helped. Especially smelling really helps. Kind of calm the vagus nerve. It's great. So that's that, and you'll see a lot of these are like neutral for helpful, neutral. Some may, I mean, there's no like resonating or resounding yes. This is what we talked about. Kelp, you want to pinch because this is how much iodine you get. Even for 1/16 of a teaspoon, you're getting that 450, which is crazy. And you don't want to overdo that, especially if you have like thyroid issues, etc. So, yeah. This is pretty cool. So this ChatGPT took and actually listed out what each of these are in words, which I couldn't make it out, but that's why ChatGPT, they have a lot more training on a lot more pictures, so and the coolest thing here is this gout, which is gut associated lymph tissue, and if you do exercise, lymph flow increases by 5 to 10x. That's a lot. And so that's why a lot of the recovery videos will have exercise. Like if you're feeling fatigued, exercise. Light, nothing crazy. Walking, kind of light bike, light swimming, light, but exercise. This is probably why. Because if you look at your Peyer's patches, which is the most reactive to food antigens, this pretty much says, hey, Peyer's patches don't react. Which is pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. There was a comment, WFPB healed, SBD healed, and again, you're scraping for anecdotes here because of the data sparsity, but SBD, which is the semi-vegetarian, and then the other one, WFPB, they're pretty much plants, and they pretty much say cook everything. So you can say probably not raw versus cooked, but most of it is cooked. If you look at the menu list, most of it is cooked, which aligns. You don't want to be eating too many raw foods, at least until your gut has healed completely. And still, just cook. Most people eat it cooked anyways. So just as a preventive measure, or ferment, which is the best if you can ferment. And then let's go here. If you have a mouth ulcer or anything super acidic can worsen it or delay healing, but definitely chemicals, like in a toothpaste, I think there's a propyl beta, what is it? Cocoamido propylbutane. I'm looking at the toothpaste. Hello. That will do way worse on your mouth ulcer than any of these. Because I've been eating these. I have a mouth ulcer, not great, but that was horrible. Like that toothpaste and that, I couldn't even eat. Like I had issues. So these will cause issues, but nowhere near that, and that is helpful. Hopefully. Yeah. Where are the lectins in a seed? Usually in the husk, like psyllium husk. And we'll explain down here psyllium, hemp, and stuff if they have measurable lectins. But husk, then some in the meat, and very low in the germ. And this is why psyllium husk, for whatever reason, they say it's because maybe most of it's soluble fiber. Okay. But sometimes it hurts, there's cramping. I don't know why, but whenever you take some seeds and it's raw, even if you hydrate it, it's raw, not fermented, not cooked, something happens with the body. Maybe it's genetic, like, oh, I see something in the husk, something in the meat, germ, whatever, but probably in the husk, and it causes a problem. why, I don't know, but you can see here, let's skip down. Yeah, there's lectin content, and most of them for hemp, cloves, psyllium husk is like zero detectable, which is why they're on country list. Are they okay for Crohn's? No, not raw, at least from what I've found. These are some, like, what is the maker's guide? They have a book. I need a summary. Here's the summary. What they, what not. And you can see most of these are like avoid super sugars, like 200, 300 grams of sugars. Avoid some crazy lectin or high inflammatory oils. And obviously this is, and then some meat and dairy, right? And then you can eat, again, not as probably strong as the SVB diet because it recommends meat. And we covered in another video, the more plants, the higher remission quicker and for longer. So, yeah, and this is soap sprouted, so some sort of preparation. I can tell you want to pressure cook the bejesus out of these or ferment them like crazy, which kind of is this, but you want to do that more. Yep, that's healthy fats. It's better to get it from the whole food, but anyways, yeah, and this is again why you want to soak. Anyways, we're just gonna, that's a summary. Yeah, anything there. Keep going. IBD Digest, it's an awesome Asian dude made it, and so there's no actual documentation online. It's okay. Time. So these are lectin content or some of the defense proteins, and they're all pretty low, super low compared to anything else. Can you eat it raw? I can tell you they do irritate the gut, and they are not helpful for Crohn's if raw. So cook. Oh, no, if you ever get like inflammation where you have subluxation, which is pretty much, imagine a shoulder dislocation, but a mini shoulder dislocation, just constant. And if your inflammation goes up, your joints become more dislocated. And what it feels like, it's very interesting. It's like you feel kind of like inflated, like everything's kind of puffy outwards, and it doesn't feel good. It feels kind of uneasy, some discomfort, pain, especially at the joints, definitely pain. And then you take some prednisone. No, I'm not for prednisone here. I'm just saying a strong anti-inflammatory or some herbs. I'm trying to see what herbs do this pretty well. I think turmeric, just in my experience, definitely did this. Just taking herbs in general, herbs and spices in general. I mean, like cooked preferably. But they will make things go like inwards, like almost like tighter, but in a good way. You're more connected to your body, and things will like go into their sockets. The reason I looked this up is because of that subluxation, it's extremely common to have like actual injuries when you're extended. Not because you want to be, just because you're inflamed and you're extended and it hurts. Can this happen to shoulders? Sure, it can happen to the hip, and can have hip dislocation. It's usually rare, like you need crazy trauma, but the cool thing is, because of sciatic nerve injury, and it's associated with that, in most of the, so I've been having issues, pains in the legs over the last, when all this health stuff started, like months ago. In the sciatic nerve injury, the stretches and exercise for sciatic nerve relieve pain instantly. They work. And anytime I kind of try to wiggle things into the joint, like put pressure on it, whether the shoulder, and we covered this in another video, that's why shoulder dislocation. But anytime you try to do that, things just fix, like they get into place, they're fixed. One of the sciatic nerve things, like it's the same thing, like you want it in there's some exercises to do that, and they really work. So hopefully that's helpful. That is everything. Yeah, nice.